Hi, today we're gonna tackle about China and its contribution on science and technology of an early civilization. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm your researcher and your lecturer based in Orienting Sun. We have our list of topics, and these topics are related to what China has contributed to the Asian civilization. One is paper making, two, printing, three, gunpowder, fourth, and last is compass. So, let's proceed. Paper making. Okay, as you can see in the picture here, that is an ancient Chinese that is making paper. And how did they make paper? Here is how they made. The first paper was created by Chai Lun, a Chinese court official in Leiyang, China. Chai or Sai most likely made the tin mat by combining mulberry bark, hemp, and rugs with water. After that, pulverizing the mixture into pulp, pressing out the liquid, and hanging it to dry in the sun. Did you know that paper making was a sign of high science and technology in prehistoric China? A sheet of paper was first manufactured from mulberry and other coarse fibers, as well as fishing nets, old rugs, and waste by Chai Lun, a court official of the Han Dynasty in 105 AD. So next is, there you go, printing. The Chinese used wood blocks and other materials to print on paper after they learned how. The first printing method used in China was seals, as you can see in the picture here, there, which there are the impressions of stamps, where are they are made of wood or other materials. Seals have been imprinted on legal documents, private communication, and works of arts since about 250 BCE. In China, printing was created during the Tang Dynasty, which is in 618 to 906 AD. The Sui Emperor Wenti mandates the printing of Buddhist picture and scriptures in an imperial decree dated back in 593 AD, which is the first time printing is mentioned in history. Blocks carved out of wood were used in the first iteration of Chinese printing, and until now, we see that printing is still occurring in today's world. Next, third is gunpowder. Sometime in first millennium AD, China is where gunpowder was first developed. In 142 AD, during the Eastern Han Dynasty, the alchemist Wei Boyang, popularly known as the father of alchemy, wrote about a material with qualities resembling gunpowder. This is the oldest documented mention of gunpowder. It is first used as an incendiary or fire-producing substance in combat. Small bundles of bamboo or paper-wrapped gunpowder were fastened to arrows and ignited with a fuse. With the aid of catapults, bombs made of gunpowder and scrap iron would be detonated. Gunpowder are used until today, as you see in wars, like in the weapons of police power, military, and other substance that use gunpowder with guns like that. But it is first made, was really developed for war and for literally like fire producing, just like I said in the PowerPoint. Next Last, yeah, compass. The compass was first employed in ancient China for worship, divination, and geomancy, or the practice of aligning structures. Chinese sailors began using the compass for astronomical and terrestrial navigation in the late 11th or 12th century, ushering in a new era in the history of navigation. The first compass was created by the Han Dynasty in China in 200 BCE. The Chinese employed it at the time of for feng shui and afterwards for construction, agriculture, and mining. These compasses contained magnetite, a naturally occurring magnetic mineral. So compass is like a what engineer use as of today, basic component for structure. Thank you for listening. For another information, let us watch this video.
The Four Great Inventions, China. Papermaking, gunpowder, printing, and the compass. These four inventions have been recognized as catalysts for great civilizations. The focus on these four discoveries and inventions as the most important were not made by the Chinese, but by foreign scholars. For example, in the 17th century, Francis Bacon wrote how printing, gunpowder, and the nautical compass had changed the world with literature, warfare, and navigation. In the 20th century, Dr. Joseph Needham popularized the idea of the four great inventions and mentioned that China had achieved many of the world's firsts. Paper. Before paper, Chinese characters were inscribed onto animal bones and cast onto bronze objects. Then from the Warring States period, 5th century BC, bamboo slips were used, which were heavy in quantity, and also silk, which was too expensive for most people. The innovation of paper came during the Han Dynasty, attributed to an imperial eunuch official named Kai Lun, dated to 105 AD. While there is evidence that paper likely existed before, it was his process of papermaking, using bark, hemp, rags, and fishnets that widely spread throughout China. Paper enabled the creation of lightweight books, and it was a better way of keeping records. It wouldn't exist in Europe until the 11th century, replacing animal skins. Printing. Printing techniques would come around 1040 AD during the Song Dynasty by artisan and inventor Bi Sheng. This is recorded in Dream Pool Essays by Chinese scholar official Shen Kuo. While woodblock printing had existed in China centuries before, Bi Sheng had invented the first movable type printing press. This was centuries before Johannes Gutenberg would invent a metal version in Europe. Chinese characters were put onto clay types and assembled to print a page. Now instead of writing books by hand, they could be printed rapidly. The compass. The first compass was invented during the Han Dynasty. It used lodestone, which was carved into a spoon shape, which automatically pointed to the south. It sat in a bronze plate and when moved around, aligned to the Earth's magnetic field. This compass was not used for navigation, but for harmonizing people's lives and environments. By the Song Dynasty, compasses consisting of a magnetized needle in a bowl of water were being used for navigation on ships. Gunpowder. Gunpowder was discovered by alchemists during the mid to late 9th century in their search for an elixir of immortality. But it's from the later Song Dynasty that we have the earliest written record. It was composed of charcoal, saltpeter, and sulfur. It was found that an explosion could be created from certain proportions of these chemicals. When the military learnt of this, they developed weapons such as the fire arrow, which were used against their enemies. These four inventions in science and technology are the famous four, but many others contributed to the advancement of Chinese society and when eventually introduced the Western world.
And that's all. Thank you again for listening.